We're back.
You want to be though?
Actually, yes. This is a fun book.
Quote unquote fun.
It was
Hey.
the least bad idea we had. Hey there, everyone. This is Adam, and we came back to Beast because the only other options were Black Tokyo and Fursona. Help.
This is Alabaster the Unicorn, and fuck no to Persona, and to get through this book, I'll having my good old friend Jimmy Bean to help me out.
I'm Tech Priest, and this is part the follow up to Beast we were promising earlier, and it's going to be a magical ride.
And I'm Biggie Nigga, and I'm getting the fuck out of here.
This is left.
This
is left.
Hopefully that didn't ruin the entire recording.
It shouldn't. I've been doing some testing. It's much more durable than I thought.
Are you actually recording your audio?
Let me check. Yes, I am.
Okay.
Keep that in.
I am. I'm just gonna edit out what you guys saw.
I'm Randall, and we originally were gonna do Cyberpunk 2020, but it was really too good for this.
Cyber modems.
I am the bastard, and I'm questioning my life choices that led me to do this.
So are all of we. And speaking of which, I'm Greg. And I think I might be on my phone half the time because of this.
This is better than Beast. I haven't read it as deeply, but still,
it's funnier.
I mean, I know it's going to be funnier, but still, there's only so much...
You are right, but
I
will say this. This is 3 times shorter than the last book.
Oh, that's a mercy.
It's rather short. I think even by the standard of Night Horrors books, it's pretty short.
Yeah, I think on average they're about 150. This is a little bit shorter, not by much.
So what you're saying is that it's under the list of redeeming qualities. It just simply says it's short.
Redeeming qualities.
The pain does not last as long. The pain does not last.
It's short.
So what you're saying is we're saying that everyone feels like those people falling down into oblivion, I think, on the title page.
Yeah. Either into oblivion or a really, really good acid trip.
I know, right? Like, that's the thing about this book, is that some of the artwork in this is just... Why was this in this book?
We got a skinhead Sig heiling against a bunch of people dressed in business clothes as they, I guess, fall into hell.
I like how the people on the top are just obviously photos that have been shell shaded.
It looks more like they're falling into the yard of a holographic Pokemon card.
No.
It actually does look like a Gen 1 Pokemon card down there.
No, it looks like that they're falling down of a waterfall area in at a city fountain in a domestic terror bomb. I'm not gonna lie.
Wait, is that the Twin Towers in the background?
No.
Okay.
It might be the Malaysian towers.
That's not the Twin Towers. I think. Hold on, let me bring up a picture of the Twin Towers.
No, the Twin Towers. They were bricks.
Okay, they were blocky. Okay.
They're not that tacky.
But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Beast of the Primordial said that Beast caused 9/11.
No. They didn't cause 9/11. They merely used 9/11 to create a massive lair in New York.
They just stared at the wreckage with their murder boners rock hard.
Much like how Auschwitz is basically confirmed to be a beast lair.
Oh my god!
I mean, Adam brought it up. He wasn't wrong.
It's not.
So now you're telling me the Hindenburg is caused by a guy who fronted as a chupacabra or something.
No, that would be the guy filling the Zeppelins with hydrogen just to hope that they explode.
Yeah.
Alright.
The best part is this book has no editing, so...
This book has actually no editor listed on it. At least this copy of it. They probably corrected that in a later printing, but for now, I just want you to remember, there's probably no editor for this book, and that explains a lot about it.
Just fucking get it out the door. Let's make some money.
But at the same time, no, the person who wrote this should have been aware that what they were writing was stupid.
That's the thing. The people who wrote this, most of them that are credited here, I don't recognize from any other White Wolf books.
I wonder why.
I think they might just be Matt's friends.
I think they were freelancers. At least some of them were freelancers. I remember somebody
Do
Do you
mentioned.
think? Wait, no. Oh, I just realized something. Do you think that these were possibly other writers who wanted fake names for this book?
That's
Oh,
also possible.
Maybe.
I like the idea that these are just people that Matt exploited by using freelance contracts. Like, you better write my book for me or you're dead.
No, they're like people he found on Fiverr.
So what you're saying is that he basically pulled an LA Noir with making this, but instead this book was complete shit instead of having something amazing.
Or alternatively, maybe all these people are fictional. He just sent it to a sweatshop and a factory in China somewhere.
Like they just picked some random. This is Megan Fitzgerald. She scrubs toilets at the 7-Eleven.
We got these. We
This
got
is
these
Rachel
cheap
Judd. She serves as a waitress at Denny's.
we got all these cheap Malaysian workers to write for a book. Pray and the diversity.
That
Great.
as much as we're shitting on this book, why don't we actually show the people why this is shit?
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
ignore this story because who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares?
TLDR, there's a kid that's a beast, and then a social worker is a hero, and then he murders another social worker for some reason and goes off to kill the kid with a geode.
You know,
Like-
I know for a fact the special thanks, by the way, since I got up to the credits, they actually... Oh, no editor. I love that. They even mentioned no editor. But
Yeah.
special thanks is to Matt McFarlane. I bet they got rid of that special thanks from him.
No, this is a thanks to him. Daniel's done a little bit more
That's
for the
what I
company
meant, like,
later
get
on.
rid of
She's
that.
not terrible.
They probably... The special thanks in new copies probably is just to the husband.
Yes. White Wolf has totally washed their hands of Matt McFarland. Well, at least Onyx Path has. I don't know about White Wolf.
Wash our hands of this.
Special thanks to Scuzzy Skeeter. He's my drug dealer. I had the worst trip ever, and I came up with this book as a result.
Thank you to the kind social workers of Hoboken's developmentally disabled clinic. I studied an autistic man to create one of the heroes in this book.
So, if we get down into the kind of what one of the themes and moods are like to conquer, connected to the primordial dream, and Chronicles of Darkness. On page 14.
Page 14. But before we move on, I have to show the best image in this book, which is a lunatic murdering someone with a geode.
You know, this is an apt summary of how I feel right now.
The expression on his face. Let's just zoom right in.
It's not terrible art. It's just that the expression doesn't match anything else.
I like his listless look as he just casually murdered a lady with it.
So it's like, did I do that?
This is what happens when you try to thaw out frozen cavemen and make them blend into society.
Hit pretty lady with Geo.
Wait a minute. This is
sad.
He looks like a fucking caveman. You're not wrong.
Wait a minute. This could be. He could be using Chris Chan's idea of throwing a love rock at people to try to get her affections. So
because he does look horrified. Like, why?
This is just okay.
By the way, that shirt doesn't even fit.
The voices told me this would work.
The shirt. You're right. He does look like a caveman. That shirt is a size too small for him. It's
Okay.
a rip out of it.
Okay, let's.
And it's a polo shirt with no buttons, so he's just
I'm
wearing
just gonna
a
say that
random
his
tie.
face will follow throughout the entire sidebar of this next bit of the section.
I cannot understand modern sensibilities.
ugly salaryman. I love it.
So so they mentioned that while this book is geared towards beasts, the creatures found in this book have ties to and hooks into many different supernatural communities. While heroes are not the same as hunters, they cross quite a few lines. No, they don't. Hunters are very specifically not fucked up by the primordial dream, and they also aren't all sociopathic and egotistical maniacs.
Like
Some
what Matt
are.
wants them to be.
Unless you're playing Ashwood Abbey.
Yeah. Oh, that's the Milady man. Yeah, he's pretty bad.
Well, no, Ashwood Abbey are the Hellfire Club essentially of hunters. They wanna fuck, kill, and get high, not necessarily in that order.
You jumped into hunters. I'm sorry. It's just
Yeah,
this book is
they're
already losing me. I think there are drugs in this book. There might be a mimetic hazard in the book.
there's a dude that does drug people in this book, but we'll get to him. So essentially, any of these antagonists could show up in any Chronicles of Darkness game. It's basically a disclaimer. A lot of this stuff actually in Night Horrors books can be ported between lines if you want something fun.
Like as a one-of-a-kind weird
Yeah.
monster.
But none of these really fitted, aside from like there's about 3 where I could say these would actually work pretty well.
The rest
and-
go away.
And of those, like the rest can just fuck off in terms of crossover content. The rest of it can stay inside a beast. So the next section opens up with this picture of a bunch of heroes in a bar putting bets on something.
Alright, just moving
They're
on.
watching it go and try to kill somebody or something.
On a
It's
high-quality computer that there's no way they can afford. In public,
dumb. Yeah, like this
by
is a
the
fucking
way.
dingy looking bar. Like
In public, and the video quality looks amazing with whatever camera is going on. I mean, you got Slackjaw Steve, Apes McGee, McFannon, Bubba Jeb, and Monica, who's tired of their shit.
Looks like Monica's missing an eye. I'm not gonna lie. It looks like she just
And-
got
Well, that's why
busted.
O'Shanahan can drink all he wants, because he just that's why she lost that eye. And you also got the Faceless Men about to vanish them into the hell dimension that is Arcadia.
It's the no wait. It's the protagonist from the Watchmen series.
You know, the guy on the right looks a little like looks kind of like a crackhead.
Oh God! Wait, I'm sorry.
Oh
When
wait,
Al said
I
it,
know
he
I've
said
seen
Watchmen.
that face
Look,
before.
Look
That's
at
a
the
specimen
quote.
of
Look,
Homo erectus.
I was gonna say,
Well, yeah,
Al
it
actually
wasn't-
brought up something. Al brought up something very interesting. You all scroll down to page 18. You'll actually find that there's an Alan Moore Watchmen quote.
yeah, there is.
Oh
With
no.
all these caveman-looking people, are they subtly hinting that people who actually spent money on this book are Neanderthals?
No, they're implying that
Because there is
all
good and there is
heroes
evil,
are
and evil must be
Neanderthals. I
punished.
think.
Even in the face of Armageddon, I shall not compromise in this. But there are so many deserving of retribution, and there is so little time.
So
Oak will smash.
So this opening text crawl, I'm pretty sure was written by Matt, and this is Matt whining, no, here's the bad guys. No, they're not trying to stop me from molesting teenage girls. No.
Do you think he was creepily looming over the teenage girl who probably he commissioned on purpose to draw these people that bullied him in high school?
Oh, there are several teenage girls as heroes in this.
Uh,
Just saying.
Because you can
Uh.
kind of get the impression that he was very invested on that bet picture.
Yeah.
I imagine he was creepily looming over the artist and like trying to use his utter lack of presence, but you know what I mean, to intimidate them into perfectly drawing caricatures of his high school bullies.
Yeah. So let's start out with the other thing is the view from outside beasts is essentially they say that beasts should dox heroes.
Beasts should dox heroes.
Wait. Oh yeah.
So
From
cry bully
that's
tactics.
Page
Yep.
20. Yep. Heroes are also doxers, so it's okay. Is kind of the other thing that they say. The other thing they try to make they talk about with like what hunters would do with heroes, and this is actually kind of interesting. In that, like, even a group with the Ashwood Abbey would kind of say that a hero is really just a different kind of beast and just murder the shit out of them. So they're both pretty fucking terrible. Is kind of the what I get out of that whole sidebar on page 21.
but I don't know. It kind of falls flat.
Yeah, it falls flat because really it doesn't make sense that like anybody would want to have any involvement whatsoever with heroes
Either
just
of
by
them,
how
honestly.
it's portrayed. Yeah.
I remember an example from the original book where we dragged ourselves through, where like the FBI or one of those groups that like
Yeah,
like watch
Vascu.
serial killers, they found them,
Yeah, Vascu.
and then they just kind of kidnapped him and had planned to bisect him.
Yeah.
Although because of the kind of poor writing. It's more like they were fantasizing about the hero that was basically Dante.
Dante
it was bad
escaped
writing.
because
It was
he
bad
was
writing,
able to.
but I'm gonna go with the saner opportunity that they were trying to dissect him to get his powers, because that's something
No,
that happens
they were
often.
planning to lock him up forever, and then some idiot intern got seduced by him or some shit and let him free, which is basically what that whole sidebar is. It's like he had some good knowledge, but then we let him talk to one of our guys, and he just kind of convinced him that he's on some sort of sacred crusade, and now they're off fucking killing people. So, well, shit.
Yeah,
We're not
this
taking
book
him back
is a little more coherent, and that's kind of interesting since there's no editor.
Oh yeah. This book is much more coherent, probably because each of the sections was written individually by just one person, I think. So it's a coherent voice for each thing, but it doesn't always coherently mesh all together.
Which you can thank to Matt probably looming over them.
Yes.
Because he wasn't on the outs yet. After this book,
he was on his way out.
Yeah.
After this one.
This was him being vindictive mostly.
This was the whole introduction section about heroes was him being very vindictive. The first one though is our first hero, ladies and Candy Rathmanson, voice of the victim.
Also, a nice failed attempt to hate on, I guess, a news source that he dislikes.
Yeah. She's a vlogger.
Yep, YouTube wannabe celeb.
Yes, that kills beasts and hunts them.
Let's actually read through this a little bit, I guess. Background. As a quiet student of media and politics, Candy never stood out or made a fuss. She wasn't an exemplary study, but she committed her degree as a keen scholar of modern propaganda and the online medium for news communications. Blah, 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 awkward, blah, 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 whatever.
Wait, if she's so shy and doesn't like people, how does she have the ability to have effective work
We'll get to it. Basically, she's able to. Let's get to this bit. Candy's at as we go on, so she kills her first beast, where she lights him on fire.
Oh yeah, okay. Beast is a guy named Jess, who's I don't know.
Yeah,
the real talent behind her vlog. Somebody's bitter.
Well, it's more like Jess was like the editor, and he was the beast, and he was trying to help her. Really?
I mean, he only was destroying the footage by rolling around in it like a weirdo.
I mean, he was kind of jacking off on like her mugshot, but no, he was. I'm helping you, really.
Yeah, Matt tried, but it's not working.
It's
let me read this little section. Just envision this in your mind, okay? Okay. Entering the room in which she first met her friend Jess, she beheld something terrible. Hunched over, hulking, and dripping in viscous fluid. A slippery approximation of Jess writhed in the midst of reels and filming equipment.
Did you say Jess or Jizz? I can't tell.
Jess. I mean, he's probably covered in his own jizz at this point, but you know.
Oh, God.
So this is her first reaction to a beast. This is the first time she sees one.
She just lights it on fire and walks away.
Wouldn't you if the roommate, your other sex roommate, your male roommate, is in your room, covered in slime, rolling around in your stuff? Supernatural slime, by the way.
I light him on fire too.
No, her reaction here is normal.
This is like the Randy Marsh is covered with.
No, she's evil and
he's like, hey, yeah, let's film another video, and she just lights him on fire.
Fucking badass.
It gets dumber though. So the university treated his death as a tragic accident.
How?
For one thing,
there's cameras, by the way, in dorms. So how?
What the fuck? So she's trying to do all of her stuff, and it turns out that Jess actually was doing everything for her.
Because of course.
She had the personality to win it, but she couldn't get any reach beyond it. But because Jess's editing was giving her actual quality and stuff like that, which is funny. Then she gets a man that calls her a libtard. I'm not.
Wait, where does it say that? Wait, where does it say that?
You need to check out page 23 in this whole paragraph.
Oh.
I'm gonna copy paste
I'm not
it.
there yet. I'm not
Oh,
there yet.
I
sorry.
see it. I see it. The Anakim laughed at her questions about ethics, openly mocking her when she inquired whether he learned anything as a result of his incarceration. He called her a naive, wet liberal.
Why?
What does that even mean?
It was a local bank manager controversially released from prison, which is
Okay.
Like, this monster got caught essentially fucking people out of money, I think. That's the idea.
yes, and that's why he got sent to prison. And it's a beast, so that he didn't really actually give a shit.
An amoral monster.
So he's calling her a libtard.
Even though she's recording him, so all she has to do is just report it, and then he can't get a job again and die homeless.
Basically, she can point out that he's fought, like,
An
how was he
amoral
released?
monster who tried
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
pick on a
I
girl
mean, he
half his
is.
age.
She goes on a big rant calling him an asshole, and it becomes demonic, and then he's angrily attempts to sue her because
And-
get that off the internet.
Yes, and then so some other hero then comes over, kills the beast, and sends her fan mail.
Which is a bad idea because, hey, it's kind of suspicious this guy died in a murder.
Yeah, so it kind of continues.
Like,
so
the idea is kind of neat, where a person essentially uses media influence to ruin
like a social
monsters.
media stuff to do it.
Like a hunter that
Yeah.
does that would be cool.
That's network zero essentially. That's the problem. So there's then like a bunch of descriptions. Basically, like she never found out if Jess is actually trying to help her or not, and so she feels kind of a
think
little
about
bit
it
guilty.
like this: the dude was rolling around bare-ass naked, covered in slug vomit.
And was causing her to literally wake up covered in mucus.
So
Which
wait,
means he was.
oh
Yeah, I
no.
forgot
As
about
the
that.
Musin
Oh,
star rose,
shit,
nightmare-driven insomnia denied her rest. Terrible dreams of suffocating under mucus,
Why
sewage,
are
and
we supposed to
filthy
feel bad
water.
for
He
him
was
again?
fucking her in her sleep, wasn't he?
He was raping her.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Thank you, Matt.
This is Matt
Thanks,
describing
Thank
one of
you,
his
you
crimes.
I
disgusting
think this is
pervert.
Matt. Yeah. So essentially, there's also like, she of course wears like your classic college girl stuff like yoga pants, hoodies, etc.
Even though she should be old enough to get out of that by now, I guess that's her look, even though it's El Generico.
Yeah, it's El Generico thought. So
Well, it's not even thought. Like, thought would be much more tight than that. Like,
That's
we're
true.
talking semi-see-through pants, strap top, showing some cleavage. Like, that's very conservative.
casual,
actually, for
relaxed
dress.
clothing. But then again, remember, if she breathes, she's a thought.
By the way, do you like her man shoulders? Her shoulders are bigger than her hips. She
Yeah,
has
I
the
know.
body of a man.
Jesus.
Ugh.
So anyway, there's the rest of this is basically descriptions. There's a couple of story hooks for each of these characters. Some of them are actually good. None of these are really good here. But the rumors are pretty fun. Which is that, for example, she's basically willing to sacrifice any of her social media mobs to kill beasts.
I could believe it.
One is that vampires are planning to embrace her.
Why not? She'd be useful in the cartoon
Yes, she
movie
would.
movement or something.
Even says so. Even says the cartoon.
And
I saw the cartoon movement, so yeah.
and also somebody mentions that she's probably also like really guilty about Jess.
Why?
And other heroes
No,
are really
she shouldn't
mad
be
about
at
it.
all.
No.
She shouldn't feel
Which
bad
doesn't
about
make
him
any
at
sense,
all.
by
given-
the way.
Ugh.
So she's got an integrity of 4 for whatever reason. I don't see why she would, but
After
He
murdering
does.
several.
Whatever.
Actually, since she
Champion-
murdered a rapist and didn't kill the corrupt mob boss, her integrity should be closer to like a 5, I think, or a 6.
it should be 5 or 6.
Yes.
Like, she's not really
But-
a asshole of a person. She's just exploitative. Like, that's a
Moderately exploitative, and honestly, her targets so far have
And
been
she-
unrepentant monsters. Like,
And she
literal
also-
monsters.
Yeah.
She's also guilty. How does she have an integrity of 4? She should have at least 5 or 6.
Like killing Jess. I can understand
I
her
don't see
feeling.
why she'd be guilty, but
Maybe she
I
feels
can
guilty
understand
because
it.
she probably thought she should have gotten him arrested for being a creep.
like she was also one of his friends. That was kind of just like, what
Yeah,
the
like
fuck?
she knew this guy for years, so maybe the betrayal
Not really for years, like for a little bit, but
for
still.
a while, but you know what I mean.
worked together. They worked together, and she thought they were friends.
So, yeah, integrity. I'm gonna say 5. Just lean that way because exploiting
way
her
too
fan
low.
base. 5 or
Just
6
way
would be
too low.
fair.
She's got a speed of 9, an initiative 6, defensive 5. I want to note that she's got a manipulation of 5, a presence of 4. Her social attributes are fucking insane, by the way.
I mean, she is supposed to be a fairly effective vlogger that can connect with people, so I kind of get
But
it.
like she dumped all of her experience into that, though. When you take a look at it, that and persuasion, rabble rousing.
Maybe her occult skills are pretty good, actually.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that one's one of the weird ones where I was like, okay.
To give you, remember, people, if you have at least a rank in 2, you're competent on a college-based level, and you can do a lot of not just opening, but even mid-tier jobs that require that skill. Like
Yeah.
a computer 2 means you could probably do fairly decent work as a coder or a programmer.
Yeah. So the next guy is kind of boring. He's kind of interesting from one perspective, which is
yeah, no,
is Daniel
I
Green.
actually like this character, Daniel Green.
He's a good character, but the thing is he doesn't fit as a hero, really.
Well, he's a unique hunter. I always thought him.
That's the way that I'd look at him, as he's a unique hunter. Basically, his parents were both hunters. They both got yeeted and left him with his aunt. He fell into becoming a hunter. He's gay because they have to have.
Because of course, but honestly,
Yeah.
he it's not brought up too much. So hey, I'm okay with
It's
it.
it's just like, yeah, it was just
He
one
just
time.
happens to
His
be.
lover was a beast, and he ended up killing him.
Because his lover was a monstrous asshole.
Yes. Yeah. And now he's like in his mid-30s, and what he does is he doesn't actually like do much hunting. He just kind of gives that information to other hunters and heroes and forges weapons. So like, some of this
no,
stuff
he was
is-
getting abused, emotionally abused before he killed
Yes.
him. So no,
Yes.
it's perfectly valid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's more or less of what he's a quote unquote. He's supposed
Another
to be kind
case
of
of
like
a
voice
victim
character.
who fought back.
Yes. Not
I
only
was gonna
that,
say
but
he also seems to be sort of a voice character, if you get my drift. Actually, both these are voice characters.
Do you think the writers that Matt commissioned accidentally outed him with their own stories?
Jesus, that's actually a good way to look at it.
But yeah, I mean, this is kind of odd, like for a book like this, that they introduced to what is supposed to be pretty passive antagonists, in that they are manipulators who don't directly get involved themselves.
Well, the thing is that he's also a fucking combat monster in a lot of ways, because I just scroll down to his like physicals. He's pretty dangerous.
And on top of that, he has access to a lot of equipment.
He's got access to a lot of equipment, a lot of contacts with
His
hunters.
integrity being 4 is kind of fair since he is a hunter in a lot of ways.
Hunters will reduce their integrity over time generally.
And he's an old hunter. From the looks of it.
He's not really
Good
older. It's just
physical attributes, pretty all-rounder.
yeah, he's a pretty good all-rounder.
Dude, a hunter that has survived 5 years is an old hunter.
True, but
Hey, he's a master lore master though. Like he's
yeah,
very
like
good at
very good at
crippling
finding
enemies
out
with
stuff. Yeah. I mean, his intelligence occult roll, that's a 6. That's not bad.
That's that's pretty good.
Again, he's interesting.
Like,
this is a guy
good
you could throw
character you can
basically-
use.
Yeah.
You could throw him into any sort of situation, even if you take out the beast stuff, which I'd recommend. This is a decent like hunter contact for your games, or for like werewolves, where it's like, yeah, we need a guy that knows how to forge silver, and he's like, yeah, you want to pay me? I'll forge.
Actually,
silver
yeah,
in
if you
for
replace it with a beast and it turns out he killed a werewolf who happened to be his lover, that would make more sense.
he'd work perfectly for like a hunter game, or as like an associate to some like werewolves that don't like that kind of werewolf that he killed, stuff like that. It's pretty good.
It's pretty obvious that the temps knew what they were doing.
Yes, that's the other big thing about this. It's like, compared to the core characters, these guys are pretty good. The next one is called the Web Weaver, Dwight Whitaker, and he's actually, I think he's one of the weakest of all these heroes.
Just love how he's holding a random hand grenade. He's a terrorist, by the way.
He's a terrorist. He's a jihadi, basically.
Okay, so
To give you an idea, he admires Al Qaeda and the Islamic State.
He does. He considers them experts at what they do, which is asymmetrical warfare, which is how he hunts beasts. Like, he He went AWOL from the army. He was an engineer that was a sociopath. He killed the psychologist that was gonna get him expelled with a bomb.
To give you an idea, the big reason he joined the army was he enjoyed feeling the people's fear as he ended their life.
Sure, this guy isn't a beast, right? Because
Yeah, this is a
Yeah,
beast.
this.
If he was rewritten to be a beast, that would make more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he's
also,
actually
look at that fucking face.
yeah. That's the face of a man who will happily kill you.
This is the face of a man
no,
who.
no, 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 that's the face. That's the face of a man who is going to stroke himself while he murders you.
Yeah.
That's the face of a man who, if he was told he was going to death row, he'd be smiling. He'd be smiling.
So I want to note that he has contacts zoologists despite killing a bunch of them. So
His
Wow.
face looks like one step away from being that Bill Cosby action face.
You know.
yeah. And
Ruh-roh.
the thing is that like there's actually supposed to be a beast after him. The Sam is not actually dead. The guy that he supposedly like is doing this all for vengeance, who is actually the beast. So logic not really in this game.
Oh, he's probably one of the most dangerous people because he tends to prefer just poisoning you.
Poisoning you, blowing you up, asymmetrical fighting.
But while he's never there to taunt, like he's a big fat coward in actuality.
Yeah, it works for some stuff. The next one is basically like a mage crossover character. She's not extremely interesting.
Soul Eater.
Yeah, all she can do is eat souls. Like, you might think, well,
Gobble,
that sounds
gobble,
interesting.
gobble,
Nah,
gobble.
not really.
Full gobble gobble.
I'm not gonna lie, she kind of looks like a female version of Harry Potter.
It's funny
Really, I
because she's a
wonder
mage
if that was
character.
the point.
The next one I love though. Just as like we get Buffy.
That's a reality TV star who's not Buffy.
Yeah.
I thought we already had Buffy in that Hunter Covenant of
Yes.
Summer Sorority Girls.
But take a look at the picture.
Just look at it.
That's Buffy. Like that's new age Buffy. So she basically is the network markets her murderous TV show as fiction. She's actually killing people in it.
Yeah, that's.
So,
Apparently, she was born an entitled jerk because one of her main motivations for attention seeking is because her younger sibling is horribly disabled, and she did not take it well. Apparently,
she was 4. Like that happens.
yeah, but
Yeah.
like throughout her whole life, though, for no reason.
Yeah, I mean that can understand. Like it's not extremely
Like
hard.
as a kid, sure, but not as a
Yeah, and that's why
full-grown
she went into
person.
showbiz and everything like that. But like saying that that's the reason why she
She's a selfish
became
monster.
yeah, like that doesn't make much sense.
I think someone needs to check their privilege when writing.
Oh, they don't actually
Yeah.
have any of the horrible things that she'd have to do to get into Hollywood, by the way.
Yeah. So continuing on, I kind of
Oh
love.
no, I just actually am imagining Harvey Weinstein as like World of Darkness character.
Harvey Weinstein would be a beast. There's
Yeah.
just no 2 ways
Yeah.
around it. He is that slimy producer that would basically like blackmail you, molest you, all that, and say he's teaching you a lesson. Don't get into showbiz, kid. Or there's people out there like me, and I'm teaching you a lesson to avoid them by molesting you. Jesus Christ.
I'm a good person. I think I'm a good person.
I like how apparently she was a successful reality star for stalking and killing people, and people are apparently too stupid to know it's not real. To know it's
To
Hey,
know it's actually real and not just
Yeah,
a fake
sorry.
show. Yeah.
Hey, people have watched Survivor for nearly 20 years, so I guess it's not too far of a stretch.
Well, sir, wait, she has an integrity of 4 despite being a serial killer?
Nah, she should be like a 3 or 2.
She should
Are
be.
we sure?
What?
Are we sure she's not a slasher?
No, we get somebody that's going to be a slasher in a little bit.
Yeah,
This
she's,
next one,
she's
though, is-
killed 5 beasts on screen, by the way.
Yes. Like. Yeah.
And
What's her
remember,
social
beasts
skills?
don't.
Her ability to bullshit, by the way, isn't even that good. Like
Yeah, I know. Her
Persuasion
subterfuge
3?
is terrible.
Her subterfuge, like what the fuck? How is she getting away with this?
How weaponry of 4 and
Manipulation
manipulation?
4, that helps, but it's not gonna be enough.
This isn't like the first one where like you could say because she wasn't actually directly hurting them that
I mean, the only one she killed was one guy,
yeah
and he raped her, so it's actually fine.
yeah like that's understandable. Like she
Let's
shouldn't
get
have
into
that
the,
low
let's
of an
get into the
integrity.
Light Seeker, though.
This is a fun one. I actually
Okay.
genuinely enjoy this one.
Dida, cool. Okay.
I was born to end you. Thank you for helping me see that. So she's a tomboy, athletic. She's really like she's really into comic books, and her friends left her, and they were kind of manipulative and assholes and all that. And then she realized that she was a hero, and she wants to be a hero. So she decided to learn martial arts, parkour, and she found out about vampires. So she's like, "Well, I'm gonna go and fucking kick their asses."
I mean, if it wasn't literally about the hero thing, this could be kind of amusing.
This is kind of a good
This would
character.
be a very fun hunter, like
I
delusional.
mean, when you really
couch
think,
potato
when you really
character.
think about it, in the world of if you really think about it, in the world, of course, a lot of people would react with dread. But then remember, there is a saying for people who jumped at the call. Some people would gladly toss away their normal lives to pick up a sword and a gun and just pretend to be a hero.
Like
The
this
best-
delusional, essentially couch potato nerd decides to start killing vampires. That'd be a funny as hell hunter character.
So she figured out that that staking doesn't 100% work, but you can leave them in the sunlight, and that's great. So she's hunting vampires under the name of Light Seeker online.
That's like
Is she actually trying to be a comic book character?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait.
That's so
amazing.
stupid.
That's why I love it. It's
It's a
the kind of
vigilante
thing.
She has an
movement sort of
integrity
thing.
of 6, apparently.
Yes.
No.
That's
He's a hero. It's because well, Randall, think about it. She's a hero of justice.
Yeah.
what she is.
Guess what?
I mean,
Like,
I
But
just,
she's
I
also
just
like a
realized something.
teenager.
I just realized
She's
something.
not that
What does
old.
any of this? What does any of this have to do with you being traumatized?
No, the thing
Nothing.
is-
That's why this doesn't make any sense.
She wasn't traumatized at all, other than just she didn't have many friends and became a delusional couch potato.
thing is, guys, you realize Light
If I'm reading
Seeker.
this wrong, if I'm reading it wrong, it said she did have friends for a while. They just got bored of her.
All ditched her, yeah. Because they're teenage girls. So that's the thing about this character is she works as a hunter character, and then it reminds you that why do you need heroes? Just have hunters. Just
I don't know. Just make a compact. Just make a compact for.
there are several. One of them
Like
is
imagine
really
a
fun.
hunter conspiracy that's just a bunch of dudes in their own homemade superhero costumes.
Oh my
That's-
god.
That's amazing.
You should be up for.
She should be the leader of this group.
Yeah. So she
Honestly, that
she
might even sound amusing. That might even sound amusing to run.
so she uses like leather jackets, paintball and BMX gear, heavy boots.
She has a
Stakes,
utility belt, by the
pepper
way. She has
spray.
two
Yes,
of them.
she does. She has a utility belt.
So, like, imagine a hunter conspiracy of just nothing but LARPing superheroes. So you got her, who kind of looks like, I think Matt stole the design from. You ever saw the show Who Wants to Be a Superhero?
Yeah, it's like that.
Her
but
design
it's-
looks an awful lot like the winner of the first season, Feedback's costume.
That's the thing too, is that she's technically she shouldn't work as the book is written, but she's got parkour 4, which is fantastic. Brawl,
Brawl
4.
She could beat the shit out of vampires.
She could beat the shit out of vampires. Yeah, like that's the, she's
Her strength's only 2, but she has the
But-
technical skill.
she has the dexterity, the defense, and the initiative to get up on personal, and
Why
she
is that?
has.
She's the light seeker. I was thinking of the light bringer with our friend.
Most, by the way, she's telling anyone who will listen that monsters are real, and she's the only one that can stop them. I mean, she's always been obsessed with those TV shows and books with zombies and vampires and stuff. But we're in high school, and now she's going on about how it's all real, breaking reality much. So she's actually like a teenage superhero.
This is actually awesome.
I
No, when we
unironically
really
like
think about it, when
she
we really think
doesn't
about it,
just-
isn't this technically more Buffy than the Buffy you mentioned?
Yes.
Yeah.
much
She's
You know
more
what?
so.
also-
You know what? If more heroes were written like this, where they're delusional but actually trying to do good,
Or at least thinking that they're trying to
Yeah.
do good.
this
Like-
would be more tolerable.
Yeah.
Like
Yes,
the,
if they're-
the one thing is, she also goes and stops muggings and stuff like that too.
Like actual heroics, actual
Yeah.
hero.
Well, heroes are just flat out superheroes in the
Sociopaths,
world of
yeah.
dark.
This
So
world couldn't get any more bizarre.
No, we haven't
So,
gotten to some of the better stuff yet.
this
but
one's
is one of
bizarre.
them.
This guy is really bizarre. So he's trying to kill dreams.
The
Like,
dream killer.
actually.
Oh, and
What
look at
is he?
look at the picture. And look at the picture.
It's hello, my name is Morgan Freeman, and I'm here to kill a sociopathic rape monster that will
I
be
am
molesting your
Dog-
No,
nightmares.
That's actually
For some
Barry
reason,
30
no, for
years
some
later.
reason, for some reason, I was thinking that this is he looks like a character from a Keen Peele skit.
He does. But I was thinking Barry like 20 years older.
Hello, I am a doctor. Ha ha ha. I'm here to check out what is wrong with you.
I am here to exterminate all dreams.
He looks
The best
like
thing is that he's
looks like to sell you something in a commercial.
he's like he can actually look into people's dreams too. He's got a hero power for that, which I
Oh my
think is
god,
kind of
is
fun.
this? Oh, I know who this. I know this is Dr. Hugo Strange.
Yep. He's
That's
basically
Black
Hugo
Doctor.
Strange.
God, you're right.
And the next one actually shouldn't be a hero, but I love her. She's amazing.
The Sentinel.
The Sentinel. She should not be a hero. Rules as written.
Yeah.
Just
So
to
she's-
show you, Integrity 7. Yeah, you can't be a hero according to Matt. if
Yeah,
you have an
She's
integrity that
a
high.
she's a single mother of 4. Her wife died when a beast killed them,
Okay,
and so she's basically devoted
wife?
her entire life to her kids.
how's that bad?
Because she kills beasts, even
Because-
though she has great reasons to kill them.
And she literally someone was threatening her kids. Like, so what she did is she cut them into pieces and threw them into the river. Like, she
Some
is
gangsta shit. That's
she
some
is
gangsta shit.
legitimately amazing. Because she doesn't just do hero stuff. She's also like a PTA person and all that. And
That's-
like,
Neighborhood Watch member.
yeah, like she's just like.
Did
this
Matt
is the
write
person
this?
for like.
No,
Because
there's no way.
Helicopter mom will chop you up with her blades.
Also, I gotta say something. The next hero, from what I describe, I think his title is stupid considering what his actual power set is.
This guy
this
is
guy's
the best, though.
The
This guy
Silencer. He's called the Silencer
Because
like,
he's
please be
autistic
quiet.
Black Manta. He hates noise.
I know, but like, why are you calling him the Silencer?
Because
It's
he
just a
wants
weird
all
name.
noise to stop.
He wants all the noise to stop.
All the
of
noise
it.
in the ocean.
Well, someone needs
Because
to
that's
get
the only
some
place he
earplugs
feels
for
okay.
Christmas.
So like he's killing monsters because it makes the noises in his head go away.
He's honest to God autistic because apparently for some reason he has super hearing and it drives him into meltdowns.
Yes. So like there's a whole thing where they're talking about like he doesn't like nail he lets his like nails grow long because the sound really upsets him.
The sound of cutting them upsets him, yep.
Yes. He dresses in soft clothing and prefers drawstring pants to anything with a zipper. Like this is a textbook like autistic behavior.
Like he hates the whiningness of children's voice, the brass disapproval, tapping, everything.
Yeah.
All noise.
He never fires guns without hearing protection. Because he just can't take it.
Like I said, for a character, honestly, for autistic tics, it's not a bad way to kind of make a character. Like if you're gonna make a weird antagonist.
Yeah, and it's better because so like he learns sign language so that he can talk without having to hear anything. And stuff like that. This guy is really cool because they
put
mention,
effort
like-
into really
Yeah.
highlighting that he is unable to function in a society.
yes. So they mention like the rumors. You think you're safe just because you can swim? Bullshit. You're not safe. Ahab, Jonah, Perseus. Read the classics. It's all the same hero. I don't mean he's like literally like the biblical Jonah, but he's like the latest incarnation of that.
He's on a whaling boat sometimes. Other times, it's just a little trawler, and he's there with a big fuck-off shotgun.
He remembers all these other hunts. He's not just a hero. He's the guy who looks at the ocean and thinks, I can beat that. He's
I'm
Black
going
Manta.
to fight you, ocean!
I'm just now envisioning like a beast just tormenting him with an air horn and just watching him autistically scream.
No, like the trombone kid.
The trombone kid.
You know that one gif where was it the trumpet or tuba kid like following that one woman with their ears?
Really the greatest of foes.
Yeah.
You could totally just destroy him with a dog whistle. I bet he could hear that.
Yeah, the next guy is just Dexter, but shitty Dexter.
Oh.
Basically, Matt saw Dexter and is like, "Hey, this is cool. The kids still think Dexter's hip, right?"
Yeah, I want to know. He fought a werewolf to a standstill and then just walked away. He's like, you're not doing it. You're not getting my murder boner up right.
Okay, let me just quickly look to see if he's actually able of doing. Lol, fuck no. I'm looking at his ability. Apparently, he's pretty strong, but that's not gonna save him.
He's got close quarter combat 3, which is actually incredibly dangerous.
So what is he? So what is he supposed to be like? More or less.
Never mind.
He's like a slasher movie hero.
I thought it was supposed to be sort of the guy who puts the chloroform over you while you aren't looking and holds you down.
Well, a little bit.
He has a strength of 4, so he's strong, and then he just cuts you.
Yeah,
It's just a
he's
serial
not-
killer.
Yeah, he's just a serial killer.
Yeah.
Really.
Just restat him as a slasher.
Question.
The next one though.
Oh,
this is
can
the
we
one of the
actually
worst characters in the book.
pause?
So anyway, welcome back. We had to just take a little bit of a break. I think just seeing a bootleg of Dexter just it inflicted something in our brains.
We just needed to take a slight break, but we're
After
back
first
to
seeing the bootleg of Dexter Jetster.
Honestly, if they just I'm just envisioning replacing this man with Dexter Jetster, and that'd be really great.
He flies around eating beasts in his rocket restaurant.
What do you know?
He just throws 500-degree fryer oil at him.
The thing is, trying to go with his race, and if you wanted to make a hero and make it in the way that this guy wanted to make it, you could use Pong Krell from Clone Wars, and you'd have the exact same effect.
Wow. Okay. About 3 people in our audience recognize that reference.
Yes.
So the next one is the worst example hero. They saved the worst for last.
Of course they would, because Matt has yet to write one.
I think
Teresa Marcusa. Dida.
The fuck is?
Tell me your
Why my last name is Marcusa? I've never.
A person who tried to make up a name but didn't decide to double check if it's a real name.
so. Basically, the gist of it is she's a delinquent that murdered somebody, then got hired by the Chiron Group, which, if you play Hunter, Chiron Group is essentially a biomedical firm that sends hunters out to kill monsters to take back their organs to use for medical research and products.
Umbrella?
Yes,
Yep.
their umbrella.
Charon, if we ever do a Deviants the Renegade, that would be the non-umbrella company you would use for that.
Yes. So like they get stuff like, you want vampire eyes? They'll put vampire eyes into you, stuff like that. They're kind of cool.
How the hell did she
So-
become a CEO? She was in goddamn prison for several years.
She wasn't a CEO. She got contacted by the Field Agents Division.
But
And
why though?
because they wanted to know how she was able to kill the warden, because they for some reason they could detect that was also a monster.
Reasons.
It feels like
Plot.
literally just for plot reasons, yeah.
It's plot reasons,
It's
yes.
for the plots.
So she's I think, does she have any actual augmentations?
Chiron group. Yeah, status in the Chiron group of 2. Bullshit. She does get a
Bullshit.
speed boost against beasts and other supernatural creatures.
With family ties.
Same
Plus
with defense.
25? Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
She kind of looks like an Asari from Mass Effect.
She has
Oh.
integrity 3, so she has about the same integrity.
She has more integrity than the guy that literally sets up car bombs.
She has, yeah.
She has less integrity than the chick that
Who literally makes her living as a D-list
serial killer,
celebrity,
yeah.
and pretending
Yeah.
that her serial killings are just acting.
I
What a
mean,
terrible person.
yeah.
And apparently she unnerves hunters, even though really Hunter should just be like, oh, no.
Monsters that aren't so basically family ties applies to every supernatural creature.
Yeah,
So
just
she has speed
magical
25 versus
bullshit.
all of them, defense 9 against all of them.
Oh no,
Wait,
no,
what about-
demons can destroy her.
Oh yeah, demons are the only exception.
Babying demons?
Demons are the only exception. Also, she's a painter. She's really a tortured soul.
No,
Oh.
no. I think this was Matt writing a beast, and then maybe there was some editing, and like one of the temps stole it from him, and changed it to Hunter, and published it before he noticed.
Yeah, so that's the last of the hunter characters. She's not very great, but she has Street Fighting 5.
Like mechanically, it's a mess.
Mechanically, she's a nightmare.
But
I would never put
plot-
this
yeah,
character up against any sort of group. She just murdered them.
Well, the thing is,
They're
I
just-
wouldn't even use her as a murder tool because everything about her design is crap.
Yeah, like
It'd be one thing if maybe she was just a high rank. Like you'd have to completely write the backstory to be something else.
yeah.
Unlike everyone else, even Mr. Terrorist Man, you can still mostly keep. I would say he just wouldn't be interesting.
Yeah, I could. Honestly though, wait. We could make him if we make him an explosive guy, we could make him kind of like I forget what are a Geist. Basically, we can make him Yosakari Kira.
You could.
Yeah.
Or
I mean,
alternatively,
yeah,
you could do what I did, which I once created a hunter conspiracy, even though I didn't know the term at the time since I was playing Old World, which specialized in flamethrowers and suicide bombings to kill monsters.
Oh my god.
Well, that'd actually be a compact unless they had supernatural powers to do said flamethrowing and suicide bombing.
Okay, compact, but you know what I mean.
So
Just an
then-
order of Hashashim that just specialize in torching vampires,
So
silvering
I want you
marbles.
to take a look at the next picture because it's just. This is what Photoshop does, people.
Another
this is just-
Neanderthal is about to be killed by a Denisovan woman.
Yes.
Notice how he makes all the black people look like Neanderthal.
Actually,
Good job,
It looks like
Matt.
Billy D. Williams'
It doesn't-
great ancestor.
it doesn't look like he has 2 hands there. It looks like he's just got like one giant meaty fist.
He does.
Oh god.
He has a tumor growing
That
out
gun
of a
doesn't.
wrist.
That's not how you hold a. Oh my god.
So
I think there's a term we can use here. It's called "Don't think about it too hard."
Doesn't I
It's
don't
almost as if they didn't want to use one of their good artists on this book.
by
don't
the
know
way,
that.
the lady behind him, the Denisovan woman, she's very poorly holding the knife in the completely wrong way.
I know.
God.
I know. It's just bad. So this chapter is about beasts. This is chapter 2. And compared to the first chapter, it has so much less in front of it because well, they didn't have to suddenly do a hot fix patch to heroes. You know, they didn't have to do that to beasts because we all know they're fucking monsters.
Well, the book itself that we died, that piece of shit that covered it kind of.
Yeah.
I guess. I guess.
The main problem with this is that these are supposed to be the worst of all beasts, and it's like maybe. So the first guy is just
No. Hey, let's be fair, lady.
Okay.
Is it a lady?
this is-
Is it a-
no,
I can't
no,
tell. If
That's
it's a
no.
Luca, it's a dude.
lady.
Look,
it
just
doesn't-
because he's wearing a corset.
Oh,
No,
Luca
seriously.
Luca really sounds like a woman's name.
Well, I don't blame you, but and I don't blame you if you see the picture where he's wearing a corset very clearly.
I love what he refers to werewolves and changelings as, though.
What?
Respectively, feral puppies and broken trauma fairies.
Yeah, this guy is supposed to be unrepentant.
He's supposed to be like the King Honcho of Zurich.
I kind of love that though. I mean, honestly, as a villain, he would not be a bad choice.
So
I
he's an
don't-
asshole because
He's an
because
asshole.
he's the liquidator. He's the
Actually,
liquidator.
this is basically his entire modus operandi is EA games, effectively.
Yes, this is just his myth even is heartless corporate leader, which is he fits it. Everything about him fits it. He like will force he tries to force interns into basically like impossible tasks, and if they kill themselves, that's great because he just goes and that feeds him. And
Oh,
then
and
he
listen-
Not only
takes
that,
listen to
special
the
but
power.
what
notes, listen
also
to the
feeds
notes.
him is taking these mid-sized startups that are just getting out there with great ideas, great products, and then just taking it and destroying it before their eyes, watching as their hopes and dreams burns away on the stock market.
Let's get into his notes. Okay, he won't start anything, though he'll happily finish a fight someone else wants to pick. After which, he'll target their loved ones, see their business fail, their insurance policies get revoked, and their retirement funds vanish.
Like
For some
again,
reason,
so-
he has
so
this
I
much
think,
power
there's-
over people.
Okay, there's a quote from Ocean's 11. I would like to use this. We used to do things civilized around here. He'll go after you. You better, if you fuck with him, you better not know it was you.
yeah.
Let's
Also,
go
I
after
want-
you,
I-
your families, and then interacted with you.
Yeah.
Kill you for it.
Can we continue?
Yeah. So I want to note something here is that this book also references a lot of other World of Darkness books. Almost every other Night Horrors book is completely self-contained. This one isn't. This is really the problem with Beast is that Beast does not work as a self-contained game line. When you get down to it, it just doesn't. Compared to Deviant, where you can have a self-contained game with just deviants, you really can't do the same with beasts because they're supposed to interact with the supernatural so often.
Well, also the way they're constructed is they're almost you really can only have them be antagonists, like one of a kind
Yes.
antagonists.
And the other issue is that it renders their entire like feeding mechanic and mute if they're with other supernaturals because they can take family ties and then just watch a vampire feed and that feeds them,
Which is crap.
which is just
Yeah.
terrible. Anyway, moving on to James Bernard Crew.
Oh, this is
Crew is just a werewolf, basically.
yeah. I think the idea is these are showing how incarnates work. I don't know.
Incarnates and like the end.
These are end stage people. Yeah.
These are like end stage beasts. Because they had in the core book those 3 things you could get, which was
Which-
like
They don't explain how you get because of how shit it was written.
yes. So there's this guy, which is just there's nothing really.
He basically conquered everything so hard that there's nothing you can really do about it. And
The
you
next
got
guy though is
him, I think, fusing with his monster.
yeah, this is the fusion one. That's what I was talking about with Crew. He's just a werewolf, basically.
A permanent, just permanently in that half form. Yeah.
He's just permanently Garu werewolf.
Like to the point where there's not even a point in having this character.
Yeah, it's just like
Though
Why?
I really do like the next guy. He's interesting.
the next guy is actually really good. So Martin O'Sullivan was an Irish lad, a good Irish Catholic boy who really wanted to go to sea, and it turns out he was a beast. And it also turns out sailors are really fucking gay. So his good Irish values were not exactly kept there very well. But so he really wanted to go to sea in the ocean, and he ended up essentially he murders the entire crew, turns it into a death spiral thing, and then leaves his body as a new entire Gestalt entity into the Primordial Dream. And this is the Empyrean Swimmer, which is this rad-looking octopus thing.
Yeah, effectively what happened was he was obsessed with earning and learning secrets that others don't know. His quest for knowledge essentially drove him mad. He tried to kill the crew in a fit of insanity and then died, and his soul essentially went on into this sort of... Basically, this guy visits you in your dreams randomly, and you can bargain with him. One item of knowledge for one of his.
Oh, hi, Cthulhu.
Not really,
It's more
because
like a
he
Gillick.
does
It's
make
more
deals.
it's more like
Hermea
Quan
Mora.
Chi Tong from Avatar: The Last Airbender spliced
Yeah.
with just looking like Cthulhu.
Yeah,
I was going to say it's Hermamora. It's Hermamora.
Yeah, that's actually
Hermamora
good.
is also
That's a
very
good way to put it. So, for example, he'll go into like the primordial dream, into the twilight. He'll go into the shadow. He'll go into like whatever sort of supernatural realm you want, and he's somebody you can get and like hunt down, find him, and say, "Hey, I need information," and he'll do it because he's even got like he's statted as a spirit actually here.
Yeah, a price for a price. He asks for knowledge in exchange for giving it. You could totally use this dude as a random spirit that you can run into as a wizard or
I
as
really don't know what you're gonna talk about. I see a perfectly normal Irishman.
Actually, if you restatted him as once in the 13th century, an Irish mage named Martin O'Sullivan was thrown to sea by an angry town. He didn't
like
die
it
that
worked
day
just as
and
well.
moved on to the Umbra.
Like he doesn't need to be a beast, but him being a beast isn't a problem either. So
Yeah, he's fine. This is one of
He's
the
fine.
best
Yeah.
characters written in the book.
It's and
because like he must collect secrets, especially occult secrets, and the only way to harm him is to lure him into a waterless area, like a canal that is blocked and drained. Otherwise, though, he will swim away into another realm.
Which is fair enough.
Because he's just like, nope.
Nope.
Just,
I kind of like this guy.
Yeah, he's pretty great.
You can use him in a lot of campaigns. I could totally see using him in D&D, in GURPS, and Call of Cthulhu as maybe a deep one that is different from the others.
He cannot appear out of water, which is another thing about him. So that's actually kind of a cool like little thing where if you've got like a cup of water, he might be able to appear.
You just like a tentacle pops out of the water. I seek your knowledge.
Yes, you could use that. You could have him in a fishbowl for a little bit.
Well, no, it'd be more like, I see your knowledge, boy.
Actually, no, wait, he can't. My bad on that one. He can move through like pipe. He can move through like open air stuff, so like canals and aqueducts, but not through pipes or plumbing. So I guess you could take a pitcher of water out of the sea and he could appear in that. But
Like you get a picture of lemonade, one of his eyes shows up. Top of the morning, lad.
top of the morning, laddie.
Wait a minute.
Oh, give me some of
Does
that.
this make you-
Let's make this a hard tea.
You try to go to the toilet and it's like, oh, why hello?
That specifically mentioned is not possible, but I say fuck that.
Well,
like,
no,
it's
it's standing water. It's open to the air, so I'd allow it just in that case.
Yeah, I'd allow it in that case. He can appear in your toilet. He's the toilet genie.
the toilet genie with 90-foot long tentacles.
Yeah. He's able to go into the hedge, the shadow, the Temenos, which is the dream realm, and the underworld.
Just imagine being lost in the hedge, like you're escaping your timeless monsters captors,
And
then
this
fucker
fucking
shows up.
drunken Irish octopus comes up to you and just asking me these questions 3.
Give me these knowledges 3, and the other side, I'll take you thee.
I like the fact that you may also be able to, he's Irish, you may be able to bribe him with alcohol as well.
Just like throw a pint of Guinness at him.
Now that's the best knowledge I've ever seen, laddie.
So, after Martin, who is just
becomes
fantastic,
the most hilarious thing.
This
like,
comes
Martin's
to
great.
be the funniest. So, this is
Adam Cutler,
the Silver Sea Serpent. Now, the thing about him is that he was a Makara, because Makara are weird and nobody really knew how to do beasts, and they're kind of thrown in there at the last bit, where it's like the fear of the
maybe we should actually read through his thing a little bit.
We will.
Okay.
But Adam kind of is this, like, the first half of it's just kind of dumb. It's just like, here's how he became a beast and a serpent. And,
Yeah, this is where he fused with it. I think Gru is him unleashing it and dying. This is
another fusion one, yeah. This is.
So I've noticed that for some of these beasts, some of them are of human, some of them seem to be human, and some of them seem to be the beast. What does it matter?
It does to some degree.
It barely does. There's minor differences, really.
So he was a marine biologist who would go around the ocean, and like his hometown lighthouse, he was haunting it, and stuff like that.
So I have to ask, Adam, why did you become a snake man? That's my question.
Because if you look at his picture below, you see he's fucking ripped.
He is the sexiest snake man.
And that's not entirely a joke. Let me get the. Well, no, that's not entirely a joke. He has presence 8, dude.
So in the intervening decades, basically, as it's going on, he's like, you know, hey, I'll sink ships occasionally off the lighthouse and things like that, blah blah blah. So he's one day he goes his beast somehow his soul somehow leads him to the Titanic.
Yeah, that actually happens.
Yes, it led him now to a site in the North Atlantic where he plunged into the icy depths of the water, reliving the dream again, but awake this time, not needing air to breathe, not needing the light to see, guided only by intuition and the current. And he found the fabled shipwreck. It sprawled across the ocean, half the ship here, half the other way around. And when he looked at a piece of it where there's only 3 letters that he could see under the rust and corrosion, A-N-I.
They had called it unsinkable. They had ventured into his territory, and he has taken their challenge. The Titanic had sunk, like everything else that challenged him.
Yep.
Yes, the implication is that his horror sunk the Titanic.
So why not go farther? Why not say that he sunk the Lusitania at this
Actually,
point?
what would make more sense and be kind of more dumb is if instead it was the battleship Bismarck.
No.
He sunk. He was the one. It wasn't.
Or the Mighty Hood.
No. Just no.
He-
The
I could see,
Titanic's
you know,
bad
if he
enough.
went to-
Let's move on. Let's move on to the spider.
Reptilian sunk the
Let's move on
Titanic.
to his description. So I want to note that this is the sexiest man you'll imagine. Thick moss green scales with a dark stripe pattern cover Adam's serpentine body. A spiny fin runs along the length of his body in the same manner as an eel, and his face and body are dotted with touches of bioluminescence. His eyes are enormous black holes that dominate most of his bony face, sitting just above the rows of sharp needle-like teeth in his distendable jaw. Yet, he's also the sexiest snake man alive. Let's go over his
Presence 8.
stats.
Yeah.
So, intelligence 4, wit 6, resolve 3,
Superhuman.
superhuman. Strength 5, dexterity 7, stamina 4,
To give you
superhuman.
an idea, anything over 5 is literally impossible unless you transcend humanity.
Yeah.
Unless you're like a level 5 power stat or above, like a level 6 power stat supernatural, you generally can't get to this.
Like, we're talking bad juju, the type of stuff that can wipe out a city.
Yeah, so this guy has a layer of 10, which makes sense because that's his power stat.
Presence 8, but Jesus
Presence
Christ.
8 means he is the most. He can charm.
Because
abuse
here's
off
the
of
other
you.
reason why we say he's the sexiest snake man. He has striking looks.
Yeah.
So presence 8 plus striking looks 1. I'd say that yes, he's a sexy snake man.
Persuasion 3. Tough love.
Tough love.
Yeah.
So yes, he does kind of just
So let me get back to that picture.
So this character
This guy.
was created by reptilian sympathists.
This
it was created by Scalies. Let's be fair.
This person was created by one of the writers. Believed in reptilians, but also had a very strong hard-on for them.
Also had like a fetish for mermen, I think.
Wait a minute. Is this?
I'm dying. Okay,
What was
I'm
that-
dying
what was
listening
that,
to this.
What was that Guillermo del Toro movie where the lady fucked?
The Shape of Water.
Shape
Yes.
of Water.
Oh, yeah, so-
Anyway, the next one's really boring. It's a beast who now just
Oh.
watches people.
Although the image is pretty cool. Look at that.
The image is great. It's a spider with a bunch of eyes.
I like.
Hello.
I like. She had a pet tarantula.
Yeah,
Aw,
and that's what
of course.
inspired everything. Of course. So the next one is really bad. Like it doesn't
like just
work.
let me read
Alvin
the title.
Zane.
Slimy lobbyist.
lobbyist. Oh no.
This one you can tell Matt wrote.
So essentially, he was a beast, a manticore to be specific. He became one at like 18, and he's using his powers to become a lobbyist. He was like a scandal plaguer and all this stuff. Over the last 20 years, he's mastered his feeding technique. He runs at least 6 different PACs and super PACs that boast half the elected officials in the state owe their allegiance to him. This is what you don't want in this sort of thing. Like, this is why, like, he's indirectly behind all this. So like his whole thing is he will make like all of his requests for things for the victim was planning to do anyway. Then he starts inviting them to like fine restaurants and top tier golf courses and all that. And once in there, he doesn't hesitate to use his nightmares. And the prey must propose or pass legislation that's a variable parody of his political views. A fierce proponent of gun rights proposes a budget that includes supplying schools with enough guns and body armor for every teacher and child. Or a small government state governor vetoes every piece of legislation they get, right? So then the private meetings get to a direct thing where basically the victim is either arrested or resigns in disgrace.
This
And
sounds
he's been doing this for 20 years, and somehow nobody's caught on to it.
So he's literally purposely making the red tape grind to a halt, so nothing ever gets done.
No, that's if the governor was a big state guy, he'd be trying to take control of everything. If it was a small state guy, the governor will accept no laws whatsoever because
Basically,
free
he's
market.
trying to destroy their careers and destroy the state.
Also, his politics are fairly liberal. Most of his victims are of a conservative bent because that's just his personal stuff.
And this is Matt. This is also Matt writing what he wish he could do.
At the same time, he will do stuff like, you're a you're like going for homosexual rights. Sure, I'll support your thing. You just have to get into a massive orgy with a bunch of AIDS victims. Like,
because for some reason people turn to this dork.
By
the way, this guy doesn't manage his own fucking money. His mommy and daddy and grandpa did all the fortune building. I don't know how this guy is keeping.
He's a lobbyist. He manages it. It's just not directly. Like, he didn't build the money. He just uses it.
Well, his parents and grandparents built the money.
Yeah.
Also, utter sociopath because his parents actually took time to try to keep with him and showed that they loved him, and he did not care.
There's been a reference occasionally to this House Bill 235. I think that this is like the thing that Matt put in for whatever reason. Like, House Bill 235 is like an anti-supernatural law or something. It
doesn't make any sense for this guy to push.
It doesn't make any sense to exist.
This guy
like, half of it
doesn't make sense.
This is America. This is not the People's Republic of China, where you have to sign legislation saying that you have to get official government
honestly,
permission.
If this guy was like a Mexican drug, cartel guy, or
like, nothing about this guy would make it work. At all.
If he was reworked as maybe from the Middle East, as one of them tin potters.
It still doesn't work because for some reason he's also got for fucking some reason he's also got demons working with him.
The thing is,
the Dida Corporation.
The only way that I could see this guy working is that if he was
doesn't work.
He doesn't work. That's the thing. He just doesn't work.
Yeah, like this guy should have been arrested and shot in prison a long time ago.
Like he doesn't work. Eventually
he should have hung himself. He should have hung himself in his cell when no one was looking.
That's the thing. What would happen is that you'd have some vampire have a hit squad go after him.
It doesn't work out of lore. It doesn't work in lore. Like, I kind of see the character they're going for, but it's.
I'm just now envisioning him trying this on Bill Clinton, and then you find Zane's body has been found in a river with a shotgun bullet to the head, and he's clutching it.
So, like, the
Police
first
like a case
suicide.
of Arkanside. Yeah.
Also, why does anybody work with him when one of his first requests for his money was, you have to skin your pet dog alive and then eat its heart raw?
Also, what people fucking it's not like politicians don't talk.
Yeah, why don't people record him?
This guy doesn't make sense. It's just one of those things. He doesn't. The next one is the next one's also a little bit boring. It's gay kid. Nobody understands me, sort of thing.
Oh, wrong one.
Tears on the sand. I'm sad.
And so she went to one of those
It looks like a male witch. It looks like a male witch.
So it's it goes to a summer camp called A New Start for Troubled Teens.
Literally went to gay camp. Probably got shocked
by
Mike Pence.
Yeah, and it was of course a beast's feeding great because it's a bunch of angry, rebellious teenagers kept in line by underpaid staff of barely competent bullies. So, I liked this. I like the concept of the idea that this is like a slasher movie villain. but you could just use slasher for it. So
So just sleepaway gay camp, and then this
yeah,
thing crawls out of the
this is
woods.
sleepaway camp.
Sleepaway camp, and you got like a bunch of Ned Flanders looking mother. You can actually make it like a Mormon camp where they're like trying to
Yeah.
teach them to avoid the gays. So you got
Oh,
these
and
Ned
then-
Flanders looking motherfuckers, and this guy crawls out of a well.
And then there's an obligatory, for some reason, her lover was a changeling.
Because this is Matt being a creepy fucking piece of shit.
It doesn't work.
This is just Matt being a creep.
Yeah, most of these don't work. The next bit, though, is the worst bits of this book.
Prepare
This
for
is the
hurting.
magical realm.
I will say though, looking at that picture, dear
That
God,
is-
that's honestly, it's like I don't know what to think of it, but I can definitely tell where the better artist went.
You
Yes.
can definitely tell where the drugs went.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Why is this naked man fighting a Final Fantasy V enemy sprite?
So, this
Also, look at it.
God.
Its eyes are also mouths.
The question, though, you know what this is? This is the Fly of Despair. This is
the
where
fly
we
of
live.
despair.
This is a man power posing and flexing in the middle
This
of just.
This is a heavy metal album
Yeah.
cover.
This is
probably is.
you know that RPG where you don't sleep and then you go into the dream world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Persona.
that. No, like you stay
Don't
up
rest
so
your
long-
head?
Don't rest your head.
Sure.
This is don't rest your head.
Yeah. So they want to say. So here's the thing about the next section. These are the super special monsters that only beasts can fight.
Yep, the insatiables.
These are absolutely terrible. They
Lore
corrupt
wise,
beasts.
they're from an ancient time.
They're from something before the primordial dream or something like that, or they're like the primogenitor or something like that. So these are like the monster, but beasts are supposed to be their monster too.
Before life existed, these fuckers were the primordials that lived.
Yeah, like these are the actual primordial stuff, which is just like
So yeah, these are the Cthulhu shit. This is the
yeah,
Cthulhu
but it
shit.
doesn't quite work as well as it should.
You're going to
So
be
it's
very
like,
disappointed, Randall.
yeah.
No.
So
Like,
like their
they try,
aspects
but they'll fail.
instead of like fear of whatever else, it's the clashing faults, the freezing hell, the molten earth, the primordial seas, and the void.
Basically, the Greek elements, but
Also void.
yeah.
It's
Actually, it's just him ripping off his work in Promethean.
it really is.
Matt's just ripping off Prometheans. These are the Pandorans, essentially.
This is definitely something that Matt wrote.
This is him just cribbing from his own notes, you fraud. You lazy
So
fuck.
insatiables don't actually build their own layers; they just eat beasts, which is kind of cool, but it doesn't really work. Like, why would you have these guys in a game? Because what they do is they just. So yeah, you're a layer 10 beast. Nope, not anymore. They ate all your layer.
These are the guys that, if I had to rework them, I'd have them be primordial spirits.
Yeah, like that's what they were kind of going for, but they fucked it
Yeah,
up.
it failed.
They fucked it up. Like the first
these
one.
should be ancient spirits. Like if beasts didn't exist, these should be the ancient bad juju spirits that
Like the kind of stuff that cavemen hid from.
like clashing faults. These are spirits created from when when things like meteors slam into the earth or massive earthquakes happen, and you have the cavemen screaming in fear.
Yeah, this is like.
And they're like composed of the dead souls from those disasters, basically.
Yeah, like this is not very well put together.
These are things mages have to fucking
Yeah.
stop. These are things werewolves are like, if you don't stop these loggings, this ancient being of the molten earth will crawl out from the hell that it's trapped under.
Yeah, the first one actually burned a bunch of werewolves alive.
Which impossible anatomy, by the way. They actually have they do not compile with rational biology because they are from a time before thought existed.
Yeah, these things are just they
Like you
don't.
can see they're going for Eldritch because their bodies are made before logic existed,
Yeah, they're like they don't have a lair, they have a den or some shit.
which is them carving out of meat space.
Yeah, it's They use irrational, terrifying fears and then feed upon those fears. It doesn't work because it's basically these are beasts, but like actually scary.
Like
Yeah.
I said, these are the things you do.
These are beasts, but better.
Which is the saddest thing is that like their beasts are better, but they're worse because
They don't make any sense.
they make even less sense than beasts. That's the thing. It's like
They're just cooler.
they're just cooler, but they're not. They're also less cool than beasts because it's like, yeah, I am Mountain Man and I will melt you with my magma hands.
When in reality, if he has impossible biology, I would have it just be a conglomerate of rocks just eternally smashing into each other as a weird, horrible form.
Like,
You're trying to see shapes, but all you see are the color blue, and
Yeah.
your brain starts hemorrhaging.
Can we get to the characters so we can just finish this fucking book off?
Yes.
Because
Let's skip
this is
all
the worst
this
part of this
horseshit.
book. This is without a doubt the worst part of this book.
Just skip all this shit until you get to the authority.
The authority is kind of dumb.
Kind of.
It's a abuse victim that ends up getting his magma hand powers, melts his abusers, and then starts using his burning fist to rob unlucky innocents,
For some
leaving them to go
reason-
about their lives.
For some reason, they're not primordial monsters that come from the deep space that come into our reality. No, they're still
They're
people.
still in people. They're still people.
So,
Really dumb. So somehow he also gets a werewolf pack under his control,
oh,
which is really fucking dumb.
So how do insatiables form? Do they actually?
No, they really don't. They just kind of
exist. Okay,
they just kind of pop into existence.
that's pretty dumb.
It's worse than beasts. It's like there's no explanation for it. It's like,
To give you an idea, in a good book, since I know the Diopsid has never seen a good White Wolf book, because he just keeps seeing shit like this. Prometheans have a dark, evil version of themselves called Pandorans. They actually explain how this happens. And you see, Prometheans are powered by the ever-burning fire, Azoth. This alchemical fire, this essentially the fire that Prometheus stole from
the fire of the gods, essentially. Like, this is raw creativity and potential in its...
Now, Azoth has a pure form and flux.
Yeah.
And for your works to be and to create new Prometheans, you need to purify your flame. Because flux leads to mutation, chaos, and insanity.
And Pandorans basically are Prometheans that were made wrong.
Basically, flux got into their construction, and they broke apart into mockeries of the form that they were supposed to be.
So, like, hand tentacle monster things that will crawl out of the dirt to try to strangle you.
Like, say, a Galatean, they're supposed to be unearthly beauties because they're technically stitched out of beautiful women or made out of statues.
Yeah.
A Pandoran that's a Galatean would be a twisted mockery of that by basically being a defaced, broken statue that has intentionally ugly features and just...
And its head will pop off and try to eat you.
Yeah.
So...
Mockery, they mock those that created them. That is their purpose.
That's the whole idea of the Pandoran. But beasts don't fit that with this. Like, these guys don't fit it. It doesn't work.
They don't make sense. Why do they exist?
Well, maybe here's an idea. Maybe they're like the primal basic fears of not humans, but humans' dumb monkey ancestors. Like big forest fire.
Then why isn't one of them fucking death?
I don't know.
Yeah, there should maybe the void ones should basically just be aspects of death.
But they're not. They are space.
Which makes no sense because animals don't know what space is like up there.
They are stuff like black holes.
Yeah, well maybe just non-existence or stuff that's out beyond the darkness. Like
that's what they are supposed to be, but it doesn't really work that well.
They're kind of supposed to be a parody of the Eshmaki, I think, but it just doesn't work.
But nothing about them works. Yeah. So
well, here's what I do.
Can we get to the...
Let's give one more try. Let's try.
So talk.
Sorry, no, that
So-
was my bad.
If we're going with why the fuck do they exist and why do they randomly pop in, it's because usually they're dead. Because humans are, at this stage, so rational that primal instincts like that are dulled. But occasionally there are great disasters, like volcanoes erupting, or great forest fires, or whatever, that puts that kind of primal awe in people. And that's when they start to stir. Like, I mean, it's better than what they have right now, which is just, I don't know, pop in.
I mean, if we were gonna have the whole concept of a primordial dream,
You're making Greg want to die. So let's get through this. So Carlton, who is now the authority, has lost as one of his bodyguards. So he's got a changeling bodyguard for whatever fucking reason.
because why would a changeling would totally work? With
Why would a
even more crazy
changeling get
beasts?
along with something like this? No, they wouldn't. Like, okay, it's fucking dumb. The authorities, it's a neat concept. It's just that it's attached to this. The next one,
And
though,
it's not even the
oh,
concept of
boy.
the blind man, though.
this guy
Okay, we got to do an actual picture of this.
This guy is
Yeah, you saw this
fucking
picture. It's great.
insane. So,
I'll
little
start.
blind man, we've seen you come. No, so now we've got to run. The old blind man, go on your way unless you come to bid good day. The blind man, don't look like that. Eat her instead. She's nice and fat.
My hand on. Oh God, this is online.
Yeah. So these speculate basically how much of the blind man's legend is actually true or not. So, because the first records of him are like ancient Persia. He was walking with like a blindfold wherever his road took him. Violence and the decay followed, eventually warping the land itself into vistas beyond anything natural. Whenever somebody attempted to aid him, he stood in place and considered. Factors arbitrary to most people determine whether he would opulently reward them or slowly and painfully murder the would-be altruist and his entire family. And like similar things happened in like the Albigensian Crusade, the Napoleonic Wars, stuff like that. And wherever he walks, ruin follows behind, and he just delivers complete pandemonium. One year he's a plague of insects, another year he's ritual sacrifices, another year he's nightmares all over.
Another year, he's the year without winter. Without
Yeah.
summer, I mean.
Without summer, stuff like that. So
Okay,
he's an
this
omen.
is sounding kind of cool.
This sounds kind of cool, right? So it's kind of going great. So he's an omen. What states him more than anything is the fog of portent and doom he produces. When he comes, his companions are destruction and loss. He wants irrational fear to consume those who know him. This actually sounds like a good beast.
Yes.
And that's one of the problems.
No, this isn't one of the problems. This is because it throws it all out right in the next paragraph after this. So the blind man is far more than a simple wandering
This
through
thing. This is
destruction.
Oh.
Wherever he travels, he leaves a part of himself. This insatiable births, oozes, and drops minute eggs on land and the sea. What is born from these eggs is unknown to most, who, upon discovering them, instinctively react by bringing their boots down to obliterate the wet mess. So he jizzes all over the fucking place.
It gets better, though.
Oh no.
According to him, he is the carrier of the primogenitor, who will be reborn once he's wreathed the world in eggs.
It gets stupider.
So everybody else considers him a fucking like insane lunatic, but apparently somehow he's got a cult because
Of
why?
course.
Like I could see if this was like an incarnate, that could be kind of cool. Like if this was like an beast, like one of the firsts, this could be kind of cool without the egg bit.
But then the egg bit comes in.
Then the egg bit like overrides everything fucking else.
It gets stupider too because doesn't he actually infest you with eggs too?
Yes, well, I'm going to get to that in a second here. So essentially, what he does is he has his group of people come in and they grab him, and they'll draw in more victims for him. So what he looks like is a 50-year-old man with a cane, whatever his something obscuring his eyes, and clothes marked with stains around his navel and groin. Why? This is why. The blind man's blotted clothing is the result of a thick trail of what resemble fish eggs progressively leaking from his navel, urethra, and anus.
Yeah.
What?
Okay.
Particularly around his navel area, a congratulated mass of pink and black eggs come forth when the blind man strains his abdominal muscles. Horrifyingly, the blind man has from time to time passed these eggs off as salmon roe or sturgeon caviar, as they bear a sour fishy odor.
It gets
He just-
stupider. Those who consume his produce have their fertility dramatically increased and gradually produce their own eggs in a similar fashion to the blind man. The only difference being that the mortal produced eggs produce a coat of thin white fur.
I just want to die right
This invariably drives the inflicted unfortunates absolutely bug fucking insane, as they cannot stop the egg production, resulting in self-destructive harm. So basically, he causes you to cut your own dick off. Or kill yourself.
By the way, he believes that by participating in the birthing, which he forces them, they increase the speed in which the progenitor will be reborn.
Also,
Can we please go to the
his
next
true
bit
form
to-
is disgusting as fuck. And essentially, his stats are obscene because he's... Actually, no, his stats aren't that crazy, surprisingly enough.
A sufficiently prepared party, I believe, could kill him.
The real
But-
question is, would anyone even want to interact with him? No.
No. Why
You'd
would you
want to
put
get
this
rid of
in your
him,
game?
though, because of the fucking eggs.
Like, this is disgusting and it needs to be destroyed. This is not something that you'd want to put in your game generally, unless you're down for players into this. Into having egg jizz
So
squirted into their mouths.
which of the writers and or Matt came up with the egg idea?
Matt.
It's Matt. We're
Matt
just gonna
probably
blame
put
Matt.
in the eggs.
Move on to the yandere.
This is a woman who's like, I love you so much, I will burn you alive. Yeah, she's boring.
It's basically misery, yeah.
It's boring.
The next one's great though.
The next one's the best one though.
Oh my god!
Also, the picture's great.
The picture's great. So
No,
essentially,
Sniper.
Noob.
This was Matt. Matt was the one. Like,
This was
Matt
Matt.
has admitted to writing this one.
Matt admitted to writing this one. Yeah.
Is this based upon
Everybody who told him that Beast was a bad game and he should feel bad.
He turned anyone who saw the beasts or abusers or creepy. He turned them into this person.
And so, for some reason, she can kill people through the internet.
You know, they tried to do that with a movie called Unfriended, and it sucked.
Yeah, that's this character.
You know she's happy with the internet because she can't spell anything right.
She let me just scroll
also
into
the
this.
leet speak of noob is so
Let me
out of
get to
touch.
this bit. So you got that, blah blah blah. Recently, Null Sniper discovered the adolescent man children that exist where gamers and men rights activists overlap.
Oh
felt
no!
nothing but contempt
Beast
for them.
did Gamergate.
Yes,
Yeah.
she felt nothing but contempt for them, but she decided to try flexing her internet muscles. Instead of driving people to suicide through direct online interaction, she whipped up an angry mob to go after her targets. Through empty rhetoric and carefully coordinated campaigns of doxing her harassment, she terrorized players, games developers, and journalists in the industry who don't share her trolls' views. The first time she saw a man killed by police live on webcam as a result of a swatting prank, ecstasy, unlike that of any other death she caused, filled her completely. She knew she was on the right track.
Literally created Gamergate. This was written about, I don't know, 3 years after it was relevant, by the way.
Yes. This was written in, I want to say 2017.
It was 2017.
Or late 2016. One of the two. Hey, 2017. I was right.
Yep.
But I want to say her art's not bad. It's actually kind of cool.
I think it's kind of bad in the sense that basically the parody of an internet troll.
Yeah, I mean,
The art is the best part of her. Everything else is actually really dumb.
like, look at the description. This is. Lives in a
See, the
single
beasts
room
are
apartment.
good. They get rid of the trolls.
Oh, and then we get it right
just
after that.
Pennywise the
Someone,
fucking
This
clown.
is just
can
Pennywise.
we please move on to the clown?
Yeah, that's
Oh.
Pennywise.
He's
That's what we're
dressed
gonna
as
talk
he's
about.
dressed as John Wayne Gacy, by the way.
Oh my god, you're right. That is the John Wayne Gacy.
Oh, I like this
but
guy.
it's better because there's only one hunter that ever survived him. It's like it.
The entire plot line is it. It's
Yeah,
really stupid.
it's they sealed him in a prison and now he's free.
2 years later. It's only like 2 more years more than the other one.
There's a reason why I'm surprised Onyx Path didn't get sued by the King by King.
Well, there's enough of a difference, but
We
Watch
changed
out,
Pennywise
Toby.
to look
Sure.
like John Wayne Gacy.
Because I'm pretty sure Pennywise wasn't a furry.
Watch out, he'll use your intestines like a balloon for balloon animals.
the last one is actually one that's not the worst idea.
Oh yeah, the Blitz Boy. This one's an interesting
This
one.
one's kind of cool. Yeah. This is the last bit. The Blitz Boy is basically so what happens when an insatiable is a child, and that insatiable basically is an incredible monster. So he killed his mother in the bunker, right? He suffocated. He blamed his younger sister for the act, convinced his brothers to help tying her up until rescue came. He spoiled the rations, blamed the paranoid brother, and then with his twin brother kills his older brother. His sister dies of food and water. Same with his twin, and he is dying of food and water, and so then he just kills all of them. And they could have escaped at any time, and he knew it. And he ate them.
Yep.
So he's now roaming around playgrounds looking for people to take him in.
We're sure this
So
isn't just a slasher, like the worst kind of slasher.
Yeah, he kind of
Yeah.
would work as a slasher.
Or it's
but
a very malevolent spirit during the Blitz.
yeah, it's kind of fun though, because
this could be a cool hunter or Geist encounter.
Yeah. The fun bit about it is, as a war boy, he looks small, underfed, and timid, and so he'll when he changes, his tiny shell bulges and throbs from hundreds of thumb-sized pustules beneath the skin. The rapid inflation of plasma inside of him forces all air from his body in a noise that echoes the alternating pitch of an air raid siren.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. He likes to consume his prey in small, confined spaces, squeezing the oxygen from them, filling every pore and orifice with his own body. He enjoys the hopeless struggle and their sudden slowing and their thrashing. When he's having fun, he retracts from his horrible form just as they're about to die. He allows them to recover their breath and will treat them kindly for a short bit. Tell them that he loves them, kisses them, hugs them, and then he goes up again.
Jesus.
By the way,
Yeah.
his true form is a fucking amoeba, essentially.
Yeah. It's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, this is actually kind of creepy.
Notes. Wilmot always carries his school bag, which is filled with candies and mulched up fast food.
It's just a trash squirrel.
He kind of is, yeah.
Well,
But
I mean,
his
he's
den-
an amoeba, so what do you expect?
He leaves bones behind. That's it. All the flesh. And that's the end of the book. So
Yep,
on that
that's it.
happy note, that's Beast.
It was.
The only good things we got out of this were a couple of cool hunter concepts, a couple of cool monster concepts that could have been done in other game lines, and
A
the
genuinely
nightmares for
good
your next 2 weeks.
creepypasta.
I have one question, Tech Priest. Why in the world would anyone pay even $10 for this?
I sure as fuck didn't.
I don't think most people did.
No.
I know what was the best part about this book.
Unless my brain is dying, did this book actually introduce any new mechanics or anything?
Yes,
Insatiables.
it did. The Insatiables. That's it.
Oh.
It will never ever be referenced again.
But you know what though? Ugg the salary man who killed a lady with a Geodude will be always in our hearts and.
Ugg the salary man. I mean, the best thing this gave us was some actually decent art.
So, by the way, I'm gonna be honest. I actually think I literally passed out at the beginning of Insatiables.
Yeah, we could
I
tell
don't
you were
blame you.
fucking dying. Yeah, we get it.
Yeah, we could tell. That's why we're trying to move on as fast as possible through it. So yeah, that's Beast. There's the player's guide, but it's basically just it introduces a family of rapists.
And it reiterates everything we saw in the first book, and fuck that.
Yeah, and tries to claim no. Beast totally needed to make lessons, even if those lessons are
Like, it's
people
literally
wanna rape
repeating everything you heard in the first book, which that book already had that massive problem of doing it like 8 times.
Yeah,
We're not doing that whenever.
we're not doing that. It's boring. It doesn't add anything new to the game line. It's not like some of the other companion books, like Mage the Awakening's companion helped a lot with making it an actual game.
It's not like it's not like Promethean Saturnine Night or
Yeah,
just
it's not
any
like
of their
Saturday
support.
Nights.
It's just
And
it's pointless. No reason
it
to
is
exist.
pointless.
This gives you at least some potentially interesting characters to pull and change. Like I said,
Yeah,
out of the ones, what were your favorite ones? Because aside from Blitzboy, which is just a really good horror thing to just throw at a person.
yeah, the Blitzboy's cool for that. My
feel
personal favorites are the Empyrean Swimmer because
Yeah,
he's
Matt
just
O'Sullivan,
cool.
a great idea.
Matt O'Sullivan.
Yeah.
I actually also like Daniel Greeny. I know he's kind of boring, but he'd be a great kind of hunter, kind of mentor figure in a way.
Yeah, the Forger.
Honestly, I think the hero that was the one that cannot stand sound would actually be a very interesting.
Silencer is a
Would be-
is a hilarious encounter.
Like he's great as like a slasher too.
Or it's like a mentally ill slasher / hunter.
Yeah.
Honestly, if the blind man didn't have all the weird shit to go
If
along
you got
with
rid
him,
of the egg part, he would have
If
been
you got rid of the egg
Man.
part, he's really cool.
Yeah.
He's like
he's a walking apocalypse, basically.
yeah, like if you get rid of the egg part, he's really cool and you can throw him in basically any game. When you add the egg part, it becomes this is your fetish, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Lightseeker. Let's not forget the foundation of a
Lightseeker.
great compact idea.
Yeah. The Lightseeker's really fun.
And last but not least, Dr. Dream, the man who seeks to annihilate our abilities of dreaming.
You mean Barry? You mean
Hugo
you mean
Strange,
Barry.
basically.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
Honestly, I think Null Sniper is my favorite for how dumb it is.
This is
Like,
Null
literally
Sniper's part of
internet troll.
Null Sniper is part of the reason why White Wolf and Onyx Path for a long time avoided ever bringing in any mention of like real world events into their stuff.
Like
There
they
were
used to do that
exceptions.
very often, and
Like
basically they
Crispus
got in
Attucks.
trouble for that.
Yeah,
Yep.
like Crispus Attucks is actually a Bruja like 7th generation or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which doesn't make any sense. I mean, cool. You read something about the Boston Massacre and you put that character as a black vampire now. That's cool, but
That's what really made them stop, I think.
yeah, it doesn't help. Like, oh yeah, Blackbeard's a vampire and things like that, where it just becomes ridiculous.
Yeah.
Brooklyn
So
by Night is
anyway,
the-
it is getting late, and I think I see lights out, which means I don't know, maybe an insatiable is going to kill me. So let's end this recording here.
you know what, people? It's time to say goodnight, and hopefully we'll put a final solution to the beast problem.
No joke, by the game logic, I'm pretty sure Matt genuinely believes Hitler was a hero. In game terms.
Well, I mean,
Welcome to the best out of context quote this show has ever produced.
I mean, he did make Jessie the sympathetic one, despite raping poor old Candy. Because why the fuck is his ooze on her?
That's yeah, like
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if he was just ruining her stuff.
or like her dreams and her stuff because he was a creepy pervert, but
Yeah. But no.
then there's actual rapist and it's like,
No.
well,
I can't spoil what we're doing next week, but all I can say is Happy Chinese New Year. May the the supreme being of Jade look over you.
may the Jade Emperor guide you or some shit like that.
May the Chinese government not steal your organs.
Shh, we don't talk about that. Don't talk about that. We don't want them to come after us too.
They'll pay like 5 people 50 cents per post to narrate our videos.
We don't want that. We get niggarded enough already by just being a terrible podcast.
Need not the running dogs to attack us. Need not Chinese eyes on us.
Something, 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 ancient Chinese proverb, something, something, something.
Anyway, I'll leave it off with this. May you live in interesting times.
World War III this year, guys. Let's
Night, y'all.
night.
Night.